What is the criteria that goes into deciding to make an IMAX, to make a film into IMAX? 4 simple things besides obviously the deal having to work. One is an important filmmaker with an IMAX vision. We want someone who's excited about being in the IMAX business, recognizes that IMAX can deliver a certain presentation that they can't get everywhere else. And by the way, not every movie is appropriate for IMAX. Harry Potter, that's appropriate for IMAX. Transformers, that's appropriate for IMAX. Obviously, Avatar was. I don't think anyone would want to see My Dinner with Andre in IMAX. It doesn't seem to be an organic way of experiencing our presentation. So, an important filmmaker with an IMAX vision. A studio partner who gets it, that's a euphemism for they will include us in their marketing. Very, very important. When you watch a television commercial, you go online, it says, in theaters and IMAX 3D, or in theaters and IMAX. Very important that the studio stick their chest out and say, we're really glad and proud that our movie's in IMAX. And usually they like to do that because it helps them break through the clutter of competition, especially during very competitive times like Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break, etc. Third, by far the most important, does the movie take you somewhere you dream about going to, but probably will never get to? Gotham City, Hogwarts, International Space Station, Hubble, etc. If it's something mundane that you can experience anytime, it's not for us. But if it's something that you really fantasize and dream about, then it probably is. And then lastly, we are a public company. It needs to generate a return that's cash flow positive. So this is my favorite slide because this is what's happened to our business since 2004. We released 3 movies in 2004. In 2009, I think that number is 14 or 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And re-releases, so it's actually 14 or 15. And our business has gone from $51 million in 2004 to $270 million in 2009. And 2009 only has the first 12 days of Avatar. So 2010 with Alice in Wonderland, which we already opened quite successfully to record numbers, and the long 2+ months in January and February that we were playing Avatar. I think we're off to a really good start. In 2009, we did 3 of the top 4 biggest movies. Avatar, Harry Potter 6, Ice Age 3, and Transformers. And we were actually offered Ice Age 3, but we weren't able to do it because we were playing Transformers 2. So we were offered all 4. This is our 2010, which by the way, today, we announced Prince of Persia, which is fills out our slate. So it is 15 movies, starting with Avatar, then Alice in Wonderland, then Hubble, which I was at the premiere of last night at the Smithsonian's Air and Space Museum. Did anyone see the trailer for Hubble on the Avatar? It's a really, really cool movie. I strongly recommend that you go see it. If you like space movies in 3D and just sort of the imagination of what these astronauts can do, it's incredible to see it. That movie was filmed with 2 IMAX cameras that were part of the payload of STS-125 that went up to repair the Hubble telescope in May of 2009. And they shot, we trained all of the astronauts, all 7 of them, how to shoot with IMAX cameras. And watching it, it's almost like you think it's special effects, but it's not, it's real. So it's a pretty magical movie, and I strongly, it's a little bit of a plug, I apologize, but it's really worth seeing. Then we have How to Train Your Dragon. Well, I don't really need to mention all of them, but there are a lot of them, and we're excited about them. So consumers vote for IMAX with their ticket sales. We traditionally are between 2 and 3% of the number of screens playing a movie, and we tend to do somewhere between 8 and 15% of the box office. As our screen count increases, our box office increases. Last night, for Alice in Wonderland, we're on 188 screens out of about 6,000 in North America playing the movie. When I say 6,000, if you looked in the paper, you'd see it said 3,500 or 3,700, but many of those multiplexes have more than 1 print. So there are about 6,000 prints playing Alice in Wonderland, and our 188 of them last night did 19% of the box office. So we're a small percentage of the number of screens, a big percentage of the box office. Digital. So why are we converting into digital? We're converting into digital for one very simple reason. It costs The example that you're going to see here is of a 3D 2-hour movie, Avatar, which was 2 hours and 41 minutes long. The print in our film location at Irvine Spectrum cost $66,000. The print at the Elisa Viejo IMAX Digital Theater, not far from here, costs $175 for the hard drive. Same movie, same IMAX 3D, different presentations. One is big glory of, of the film-based location, and one is in the digital location, which people really like. But the digital screens are not quite as big as the film-based screens. But it's the difference between sound's the same, geometry is the same, still not a lot of trailers when you go to an IMAX theater, but it's the difference between $66,000 and $175. So in this case, it's a 2-hour movie, the difference between $45,000 and less than $500. And then we manage the film cycle. This is just more business propaganda, so I'll skip it, other than to say we've done about $225 million with Avatar on about 250 screens around the world. And our screens tend to do somewhere between 4 and 6 times per screen of what a typical 3D, non-IMAX 3D theater would do, and somewhere between 8 and 12 times what a 2D theater would do. And on IMAX for Avatar, we were in less than 1%, about 1% of the number of screens around the world playing the film, and we did 9% of the box office. So that's pretty good of a $2.6 billion movie. And then we had great results with Alice in Wonderland. We sold more tickets than we've ever sold before in pre-sales before the movie opened. I think the halo effect of Avatar had a lot to do with that. I think people went, saw Avatar, thought it was awesome, wanted to see the next cool 3D movie. It was Alice in Wonderland, and they went and bought tickets well in advance. We did $15 million this weekend, which is great. It was the first time that we did over 10% of the box office of a movie that did over 100 million in box office receipts, and as I mentioned, 19%. So that's my PowerPoint. I just wanted to give everyone a little bit of a IMAX 101, and I think now Michael and I are going to move on to the stage, and he's going to ask me a bunch of embarrassing questions.